Hello and welcome to our class of personal planning and recruiting. So today we are going to discuss that what is HR or personal planning and what is recruitment. We have already discussed in our last or previous videos about recruitment selection, the functions of HRM. So today we are going to discuss about personal planning. To start with, after this whole video, you will be able to understand about what are the main techniques used in employment planning and forecasting. We will be also discussing some of the sources of candidates, like how you're going, from where you can make your pool of candidates, how effectively recruitment or how effectively you can recruit job candidates, name and description of the main internal sources of candidates. You can also help how an ad should be placed while looking for a particular position or a job, and how the diverse workforce impact your organization. So these are the things we would be able to cover after this whole video. To start with, what is recruitment and selection? Like we have previously already discussed that recruitment क्या होती है, recruitment में एक pool of candidates, like हम CVs collect करना शुरू करते हैं. मेरे हमारे पास कोई भी, फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने कहा मुझे आज जॉब है, HR की रिक्वायरमेंट है, तो मैं HR रिलेटेड जो भी मेरे पास अगर पोजीशंस के लिए, आई विल बी डिजाइनिंग और आई विल बी ओपनिंग अ वैकेंसी. उस वैकेंसी में मैं अपने आप को देखूंगी कि अच्छा कि मुझे कौन से मतलब पर्टिकुलरली ज़रूरत है किस इंडिविजुअल की, किस प्लेस की. अगर HR की, तरह मैंने भी एग्जांपल दी, तो HR में सबसे पहले मैं उसको डिफाइन करूंगी कि लाइक HR की अच्छा क्या क्वालिफिकेशन होनी चाहिए, क्या उसके पास जॉब स्पेसिफिकेशन इन टर्म्स ऑफ लाइक क्वालिफिकेशन, एक्सपीरियंस में मे बी उसमें हमारे पास उसके एट्रीब्यूट्स क्या हैं, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स हमें चाहिए उसके स्किल्स में, या एनालिटिकल स्किल्स चाहिए. सो दिस इज जॉब स्पेसिफिकेशन. देन वी विल बी डिफाइनिंग अबाउट द जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन, क्या क्या टास्क एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज हमें करवानी है, रिपोर्टिंग लाइन क्या होगी, क्या नंबर ऑफ लाइक उसका वर्किंग कंडीशंस कैसे हैं. सो अभी हम सीवीज कलेक्शन को रिक्रूटमेंट कहते हैं. द सेकंड स्टेज इज selection. So now what is selection? We need to decide what to do, how we are going to go for the selection, either for the test or either for an interview or both, and then maybe medical test, maybe physical, depending on the need of the organization. So we need to fill the positions through planning and forecasting. Like हम क्या करने वाले हैं, हमें like what type of individual or candidates I'm looking for my particular organization. I need to decide that. I need to decide कि मुझे किस किस्म के और लाइक मे बी किस एट्रीब्यूट्स के, किस क्वालिफिकेशन के, कितना एक्सपीरियंस के लोग जो रिक्वायर्ड हैं कैंडिडेट्स. देन आई विल बी बिल्डिंग पूल ऑफ रिक्रूटमेंट, पूल ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स का जो मैं बनाऊंगी, एक पूल बनाऊंगी, क्रिएट करूंगी. अब इसमें दो मेथड्स होते हैं, दैट कैन बी डन इंटरनली, दैट कैन बी डन एक्सटर्नली एज वेल. इट डिपेंड्स एट हाउ आई एम गोइंग टू गो विद दैट. If it's internal, there are different sources of internal recruitment. We'll discuss in our upcoming video, in this chapter as well. We'll touch few of the points. Also, we will be touching on external क्या sources हैं. Okay. So we need to have this initial screening interview for the selection. जिस तरह बहुत से organizations की you have seen उनके dashboard बना होता है, you have to fill that all form. Also they require your resume or CV, depends on like how much experience. If you're a fresh graduate with having 1 to 2 year experience, resume is more than enough. It's a one pager or two. And if you are like experienced one, definitely you will require more pages. You require more, like if you have experienced, so you have to add more data. So we'll discuss in one of our upcoming videos as well to how to write or how to make a resume. That's another very important factor in applying for any job. Okay, now there are different things, different techniques that we used, like test, background investigations, physical examination. जिस तरह बहुत सी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस पहले टेस्टिंग कंडक्ट करती हैं, कुछ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन टेस्ट खुद करवाती हैं, कुछ इसको एक्सटर्नली. जिस तरह बहुत सी जनक पब्लिक हमारी, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट पर्टिकुलरली इन पाकिस्तान, वी हैव कुछ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस दे वांट टू लाइक गो विद द थर्ड पार्टी. जिस तरह नेशनल टेस्टिंग सर्विस है जो गवर्नमेंट की बॉडीज को हेल्प आउट करती हैं. देन वी हैव अदर इंस्टीट्यूट्स यहाँ पे जो कंडक्ट करवा के देते हैं आपको टेस्ट. सेकेंडली बहुत से ऑर्गेनाइजेशन खुद अपना टेस्ट कंडक्ट करती हैं. अब जो टेस्ट कंडक्ट है वो दैट कैन बी अगेन, कुछ उसको पेन एंड पेपर के फॉर्म में करते हैं, कुछ उसको अगेन कंप्यूटर में सिमुलेशन की, मे बी समथिंग लाइक maybe gamify it. So and it depends on like organization की requirement क्या आजकल that can be blend of everything as well. Okay? You can have blend of two or three things that can also be in the form of the test. Background investigation is actually you try to check about the previous with that person, previous maybe from where he has studied, आप उसकी education की background check कराते हो, अगर experienced है वो तो उसका उसके last जो उसकी है reference check कराते हो, organizations particularly, what type of person he is, और वो कैसा था, उसका conduct कैसा है, उसका maybe morality, maybe honesty के मामले में, maybe अगर उसके बाकी characteristics you like to know from that particular previous organizations, maybe रिपोर्टिंग ऑफिसर जो उसको रिपोर्ट जहाँ पे वो करता है या एचआर से दैट वुड बी डन फिजिकल एग्जाम्स वहाँ पे जरूरी होते हैं इफ यू टॉक अबाउट फोर्सेस और स्पेसिफिकली और एनी अदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जहाँ पे आपको फिजिकली फिट है यहाँ पे आपको इस तरह की जरूरत है तो वहाँ पे फिजिकल एग्जामिनेशन भी होती है इफ यू टॉक अबाउट आर्मी नेवी और लाइक एयरफोर्स तो वहाँ पे फिजिकल एग्जामिनेशन होती है आपका एक प्रॉपर टेस्ट होता है आपको उसको क्लियर करना होता है बीएमआई के अकॉर्डिंग आपका वेट हाइट होना चाहिए व्हाट्सएवर लाइक सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट लाइक being healthy and being fit. Last but not the least, if you go through all this process and you have been selected, so maybe you have been asked for an interview. Interview may be different stages पर होते हैं. पहले एक interview होता है, maybe direct with your HR department, then with the immediate boss. Then if the position is higher position, that can be done with the CEO, CFO, CTO. Depends on the organization's hierarchy. It also depends कि आपकी position क्या है. Like for which position, if it's a junior or middle position, to definitely there won't be a lot of interviews. But if that position is like a strategic or main, or you can say manager or director level, so that can be there would be of different interviews. There could be panel interviews. There could be like any one-to-one, one-on-one interview. We discuss about interviews when we will be coming in our upcoming videos. Okay. So these are some of the steps you need to follow in recruitment selection process. So this all start with planning, like हम अपने previous videos में अपनी previous chapters में we already discussed about कि HR starts with the planning phase, like job analysis हमने की थी, job analysis में we discussed about what is job, what we need to do, what is all this employment is basically about. Employment की planning और forecasting में क्या होती है, then we need to create a recruitment pool जिसमें सारे लोग जो भी हमारे पास हैं we need to build a pool of that pool of candidates में they could be like again जिस हमने कहा if I require a CV for executive position तो definitely executive में different CVs आ रही होंगी मेरे पास at this stage I'm not scrutinize any CV मैं सिर्फ उसे collect करती रहूंगी मैं उसको भी scrutinize नहीं करी कि what type of CVs I'm collecting किस किस्म की आ रही हैं either they're eligible for my current position or not but I'm just having it then after having the pool when the position is closed then I'm going to scrutinize I'm going to shortlist the candidates who are eligible for that maybe different screen out process use होते हैं जिस तरह मैंने कहा test हो जाता है अगर आपको समझ आता है जो लोग समझ आ रहे हैं तो those who are qualifying the pre criteria तो आप उनको एक टेस्ट के लिए बुला लेते हो टेस्ट अगर नहीं है तो आप उनको इंटरव्यू के लिए बुला लेते हो एंड देन द होल स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेस गोज ऑन एंड पीपल हु आर लाइक जो आपके जो पूरे प्रोसीजर से गुजरने के बाद those who are selected to the final interview or maybe the test they are being interviewed they are being like maybe selected they are being qualified and they are being offered a letter as well that welcome on board we would like to have you so again that's on their discretion now that either they're going to join you or not but you have given them the chance that they can be on board with that particular organization. Okay, then we have to start with now what is planning and what is forecasting. Like this whole process of recruitment selection could not be done without planning because when we have a particular position in mind or a position has been generated or created, so we need to decide how we are going to fill in this position. Fill in का मतलब है कि अगर हमें क्या करना है internally fill करना है externally fill करना है how I am going to go with about what will be my criteria how I am thinking to go with the situations so I need to determine जिस तरह अभी मैंने पहले हमने पिछली previous slide में भी discussed about internal and external sources होते हैं कि either you are going with the internal so there is another concept of succession planning. Sometimes succession planning is something कि आपके पास कोई position है, for example, एक assistant manager की position आपके पास vacant होती है, and you have other assistant managers So you can, or you have other maybe officers level positions or executives आपके नीचे, तब एक executive को वो position दे देते हैं as assistant manager कि भाई अब तुम्हारा promotion हो गया है या तुम्हें एक upgradation हो गई है या आपकी एक inclination होगी तो you can be like, तो अब ये आप अंदर ही अंदर internally organization के you fill out the position. You don't need to advertise it anywhere because internally, even it's not just from the same department, it can be from a different department as well, but internally you can fill out that position. And now what to do and what to forecast. Now these are different elements you need to see, you need to work on before doing that. Number one is overall personnel need, the supply of inside candidates, the supply to outside candidates. Now this is basically when we talk about हम लोग एक चीज़ अब देखते हैं forecasting में, तो we need to see हमारे पास अगर internally है candidates available हैं, नहीं है तो मैं अगर outside से hire करने में भी different हमारे पास जो भी sources हैं hiring के उससे हमें देखना है और हमें कितनी requirement, मुझे भी एक बंदा hire करने, दो बंदे करने, maybe a batch of maybe people, maybe candidates. So I need to see that what is my forecasting in this. So there are different levels of it. There are different, maybe you can say, methods to do this thing. Number one is, so these are the factors in forecasting personal needs. Number one factor is your projected turnover. Now what is projected turnover? So basically project turnover is, so this is basically when we start with projected turnover, you need to see that how many people you can project they are going to, or they are going to resign in the future, or you are going to dismissal them. So this is projected turnover. कि आपको देखना है कि कितने लोग आपको छोड़ के जा सकते हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के. अगर मे बी देयर कुड बी अ पॉइंट अगर वो खुद छोड़ के नहीं जा रहे तो आपकी उनकी सर्विसेज आपकी खत्म होने वाली है, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खत्म होने वाला है, या समटाइम्स दिस कुड बी वन ऑफ द रीजन कि वो रिटायरमेंट होने वाली उनकी, तो यू कैन प्रोजेक्ट बीइंग एन एचआर मैनेजर कि यार आपने नाउ व्हाट यू हैव टू डू, व्हाट यू नीड टू डू. एंड द अदर केस कुड बी डिसमिसल कि आपने किसी को ऑर्डर दिया या आपने कहा कि यू आर लाइक योर सर्विसेज आर नो मोर रिक्वायर्ड, सो दैट कुड बी अ गोल्डन हैंडशेक और दैट कुड बी अ लाइक म्यूचुअली आपने एक दूसरे से अंडरस्टैंडिंग करके उसे कि आपका जो हमने नेक्स्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है वो रिन्यू नहीं होगा, तो दिस इज कैन बी अ डिसमिसल. सो अगेन यू नीड टू सी, अगर हमें इसमें देखना पड़ेगा कि अगर हम either we are going for resignation हो रही है या dismissal हो रही है, तो what would be the projected, कितने लोग एक organization में छोड़ के जाएंगे. Second factor, most important factor, is your quality and nature of your employees. That what type of quality or what type of people you are having. Either they are good, either they are bad, either they are rude, what type of environment, culture is within the organization. कैसा culture organization का, you need to see that. Then there is another thing, that is decision to upgrade. Either you want to upgrade your employee in terms of like promotion करना चाह रहे हो या आप उनको same designation पे रखना चाह रहे हो. So again you need to forecast कि अगर आने वाले दिनों में या after some time what will be happening around in your organization and how you are ready for that. Then comes another important aspect is technological and administrative changes. We're all like surrounded by our हमारी जो society में हमारी जो आसपास चीजों में अगर they are like some बहुत changes आ रही हैं, जैसे आजकल IT, it's like again it's some most flourishing and boom industry. You need to see that what's happening, what's going around, क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, क्या काम जरूरी है इस टाइम पे. So you need to forecast that thing. And lastly, the most important are your resources, financial resources. कि आपके पास कितना आपके पास एक डिपार्टमेंट के पास या आपके एज ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के पास क्या आपकी स्ट्रेंथ्स हैं, आपके पास कितना पैसा है, कितना आपके पास चीजें हैं फाइनेंशियली, आप कितनी स्टेबल हो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को चलाने के लिए डाउन द लाइन, मे बी 1 year 2 year 3 year 5 year 10 years. आपको क्या लगता है कि आपकी जो फोरकास्ट चीजें हैं हाउ सस्टेनेबल और हाउ मच गुड एनफ दे आर. So another, moving onwards towards forecasting personal needs, there are different like methods, there are different tools that can be done. One method is trend analysis. Now what is trend analysis? This is basically the study of your past employment needs over the period of years to predict future needs. कि आप अपने पुराने previous years के लोगों को देखते हुए, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने लास्ट ईयर का अगर आपके पास डाटा है कि कितने लोग आपके पास डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स में, सेल्स हो गया, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन हो गया, मार्केटिंग हो गया, कितने लोग थे, कितने लोगों ने एम्प्लॉयमेंट ली, चले गए आपके बाद छोड़ के, तो यू कैन हैव एन एनालिसिस, दैट इज बेसिकली द ट्रेंड एनालिसिस। यू कैन सी दैट कि आपकी स्टाफिंग में कैसे लोग आ रहे थे, कैसे गए, क्या हुआ, तो दैट कैन गिव यू एनालिसिस ओवर द पास्ट पीरियड ऑफ years. Another method is ratio analysis. Now, what is ratio analysis? By determining the future staff needs by using ratios between a casual factor and a number of employees needed. Now, what is a casual factor? For example, अगर मुझे एनालाइज करना है कि आजकल की जिस तरह अगर मैं कहूँ कि if you take the example of just now, we are in the current situation of facing this COVID-19. If I have to make a ratio analysis of this, कि मुझे क्या चीज़ करनी है, कैसे करना है, कितने लोग अफेक्ट हो रहे हैं, कि मुझे ऐसी कोई वैक्सीन बनानी है तो how I have to go with that. So मैं इन दोनों factors को अगर देखूंगी in terms of like number of people who have been maybe infected with this or of people with maybe the vaccine. तो आई नीड टू सी दैट कि मैं किस तरह इस चीज़ की प्रोडक्टिविटी करूँ ताकि वो चीज़ों को हम बना रखे भी सही। अगर टाइम पीरियड है, वैक्सीन अगर आ जाती है तो हमें इसको किस तरह लेके चलना है, तो वी कैन ईजिली डिटरमिन कि क्या करते हैं। अगर मैं यही एग्जांपल कोविड-19 की और एम्प्लॉयज़ एज वेल, अगर मेरे एम्प्लॉयज़ में एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक अच्छा वाला टर्नओवर, मे बी यू कैन से एक अच्छा खासा प्रॉफिट जनरेट कर रही है एंड उसकी अगर हम बात करें कि हाउ दे आर गोइंग टू गो विद दैट, हाउ दे आर गोइंग टू जनरेट दैट रेशियो। फॉर एग्जांपल अगर जिसमें एक अच्छा रेशियो अगर अच्छा प्रॉफिट जनरेट कर रही है, तो वी नीड टू सी दैट कि अगर ये प्रॉफिट जनरेट हो रहा है तो अगर आप फ्यूचर नीड्स में भी अपने एम्प्लॉयज को रखते हैं, बिकॉज दे आर द एक्चुअल एसेट, दे आर द एक्चुअल पीपल हु आर डूइंग इट, तो हमें उनको भी मोटिवेट रखना है। और उनको मोटिवेट रखने के लिए हमें ये देखना है कि हमें आने वाले दिनों में कितने और एम्प्लॉयज चाहिए होंगे। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी हमारा क्या सेल्स का वॉल्यूम है या हमें हमारा क्या है चीज़ है, एंड आने वाले ट्रेंड में हमें क्या देखना होता है। सेम इज लाइक जब मैंने बात की कि कोविड के हमारे पास कितने केसेस आ रहे हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ वैक्सीनेशन, इट कुड भी कोविड के कितने पेशेंट रिकवर हो गए हैं, इन टर्म्स ऑफ कोविड के पेशेंट अभी कितने हैं। तो हम इसको भी ट्रेंड रेशियो एनालिसिस की तरह देख सकते हैं फ्यूचर में हमें क्या कितनी वैक्सीन चाहिए होगी ऑन एन एवरेज टू डिटरमिन कि कितना होगा या कितना स्प्रेड हो सकता है, जस्ट टू फोरकास्ट। Okay, another methodology is scatter plot. Now, what is a scatter plot? Again, scatter plot is basically a graphical representation between the two variables. अभी हमने बात की रेशो की, वो वहाँ पे रेशोस में हम लिखते हैं, यहाँ पे हम as a plot उसको डिपेक्ट करते हैं. For example, we have taken example of number of beds in a hospital with number of registered nurses. एक हॉस्पिटल में we have like for example just assume कि अगर एक हॉस्पिटल में 500 beds हैं, so if we want to expand it or if we want to grow it, तो हमें definitely number of registered वो nurses भी बढ़ानी पड़ेंगी। जैसे जैसे birds बढ़ेंगे हमारे पास definitely हमारे पास जो हमारा resource है that will be also increasing with the number. So we need to see that with the passage of number increasing in one direction, the other thing will be also be increasing. So लेकिन हमें ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं करना कि एक स्टेज में वी वुड बी हैविंग ये ना हो कि हमारे पास जितने बेड्स हैं उतने ही लोग आ गए हैं और वी आर इन अ डेफिसिट और वी आर इन अ लॉस. So we need to see that how we are going to go with that. Okay, so basically we were discussing about scatter plot, and this is the example we have already right now we have discussed. So moving forward, this if you see on the graphical representation, we can see that when the number of beds we are increasing in a hospital, so definitely the nurses, that ratio is also increasing. You can see over here, like if I point it out, this is the actual situation right now when we are standing from thousands to definitely we're also increasing our number of registered nurses. एग्जाम्पल या कोई भी रिलेटेड एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हो कि अगर आप एक चीज को बढ़ाते हो डेफिनेटली दूसरा फैक्टर भी बढ़ता है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर मेरे पास रिक्वायरमेंट आई है और if I have to hire a batch of candidates maybe for MTA program maybe 100 or maybe 200, so definitely जो उसमें मेरे पास नंबर ऑफ एप्लीकेंट सीरीज आएंगी, अगर मुझे 100 लेंगे तो डेफिनेटली मैं 200 300 400 सीरीज आएंगे and then I'm going to collect or shortlist from among these series. So we can also draw this on our catalog. Okay. Now these are some other forecasting tools which can be used. One is the computerized forecasting tool. Like So the computer, that's like a software, computer जो softwares हमारे होते हैं उसके through भी we can project, we can forecast कि हमारा आगे वाले आने वाले दिनों में हमारी sales कैसी होगी, production कैसी होगी, number of employees हमें कैसे चाहिए, what type of labor हमें चाहिए, direct, indirect, whatever, like so we can actually have an idea, rough हमारे पास एक idea आ सकता है कि we can have the figure कि how many people we will be requiring. For example, if I talk about temporary employees, जब भी हमें अगर कोई लोग hire करने in terms of ad hoc basis पे या हम इनको employees कर देते हैं, maybe daily wages पे या maybe इस तरह के employees हमें part time employees चाहिए, तो we can forecast through the software easily कि what's going around, अभी हमारी कैसे sale जा रही है, अभी हमारा कैसा output है, अभी हम where we are standing and what we require in the future. Okay, now the main talk of today is one of the main talk is how we can analyze the forecast for the inside candidates. हमारे पास actually the employees, people who are actually working with the organizations right now, any organization, how we can forecast कि ये किस तरह हमारे लिए फायदे हो सकते हैं. So one method is qualification inventories. If you talk about this is a manual, or you can also say that it's a computerized record that has been maintained by the organization, जिसमें हर employee की education, उसके work related information, maybe career interest, maybe special interest, maybe languages, maybe everything, whatever is known to the HR department, हम जिसकी CV से हमने उठाया है, we have maintained a proper, you can say inventory, we can proper record हमारे पास. This helps us a lot in terms of like forecasting, in terms of succession planning, in terms of promotion, internal promotion as well. Because we have the idea that particularly some person ये qualification है, ये इसका skill set है, ये इसके पास ये है, so we can easily ask that person for any promotion, if any other thing, तो हम लोग we can easily ask that particular individual. So maintaining this type of qualification inventory is also one of the good idea, or you can one of the need of an organization for an effective recruitment. Other systems are like this is like personal charts, or you can say position replacement chart. Now both these charts are being used at different particular point of period of time. If we talk about what is personal replacement chart is basically, this is the chart used for succession planning. अगर हमने internally के position है, अभी आपकी position कैसी है, आपके अंदर क्या chances है promotion के, so through that we can have the idea कि आपके अभी current records में personal का कैसा performance जा रहा है, currently वो कैसा है, अगर he is suitable or she is suitable for maybe a jump or not. So this can be done through that. Another thing is position replacement chart. What is a position replacement chart? This is particularly for each particular position. Okay, what type of candidate we require for a position in terms of skill set, in terms of qualification, in terms of education, in terms of experience. हमें किस maybe किस type का, किस किस्म का individual candidate चाहिए उस position को fill करने के लिए. अगर हमारे पास ऐसा कोई पूरा proper chart या कोई बनी हुई है list, that makes the HR personal life very easy, and anybody else as well who ask for a particular who ask for a particular candidate, ताकि अगर मुझे कोई अपना पास रखना है inside the organization internally, I can go through this charts. Okay. Now there are different methods that has been used in forecasting. Another is HRIS. Now, HRIS basically is a computerized information system, that is human resource information system. It has been used rigorously by now. It has been used by, if I say, all the good organizations, all organizations who have that much capacity and capability are using it. It is basically a tool that is used to keep all the data of employee at one place, like their work education, their product knowledge, industry experience, education, training, languages, if they have been relocated over here and there, wherever they have been placed, what their career interest, what type of appraisal, what type of compensation even. Each and everything has been put over there in HRIS. So it's become very easy for your immediate boss, or even from the HR, if they are maintaining it properly, that they can scrutinize our employee very easily and very effectively. Okay. Now there are other concerns of privacy information. Again, HR department is some information is like आपकी पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन क्या थी, क्या एजुकेशन ग्रेड्स, क्या आपका कैसा प्रीवियस था, आपका प्रीवियस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में क्या चीज थी. So now this is the case of the security of the HR. HR needs to keep everything safe and secure. People don't feel कि अगर मेरी information में नहीं आ तो it could be anything. If a person is divorcee, if a person is like maybe she's a single parent, whatsoever, that if a male is like single parent, again, you need to see that how you are going to keep that information safe and secure. Till the time they are not telling you being from the HR department are some not supposed to disclose their salary cap, their previous stat. You're not supposed to. This is these are all, if you talk about legally, HR department also bound to follow all the legal consultations. If we talk about Pakistan particularly, we do have different acts to protect employee rights in terms of like anything, in terms of if it's a job, it's about anything related to security or any other practice of workplace. So another point is forecasting the supply from outside. Now we were talking before, we were talking about inside supply. Now we are talking about this outside supply. So we also need to see some of the factors, some of the things like what are the economic conditions right now of the industry, of the market, of the locality, how local market conditions are impacting your job market or your that particular industry or sector, and how what are the conditions of occupational आजकल job market में कैसी job क्या market है. For example, after COVID-19 जितना आजकल थोड़ी सी हमारी job market is that much saturated है, jobs नहीं है भी तो मे बी सैलरी इतनी अच्छी जो पहले प्रीवियसली ऑफर हो रही थी वैसी ऑफर नहीं हो रही because there are a lot of candidates. If we talk about supply and demand, so there is a lot of supply and demand is very less. If we require 2 or 3 individuals, there are hundreds of people who are being laid off after this COVID-19. So hundreds of people are there to apply for different positions, and we need to see that how we are going to go along with them and how we are going to accommodate each and everyone. So we need to see all the conditions of our particular market, what is happening around. Now, this is another very interesting concept, that is recruiting yield pyramid. Now, what is it? If we take this example of a recruiting yield pyramid, we need to discuss it like हम इसको थोड़ा सा reverse pyramid, like from bottom to top we are going to discuss it. नीचे से ऊपर बात करेंगे. So in organization में जब कोई position वो advertise करती है, maybe if that, for example, if that organization would able to generate a lead of 1200 people, 1200 लोगों ने इसमें apply किया, 200 candidates were selected for that, for an interview. हमने 150 लोगों में से invite किया, 200 candidates में से 150 लोगों को interview किया. We have made an offer of about 100 people because we were training for MTO program. 100 में से अब 15 हमारे accept कर लिया. So now this figure of 50 is basically that figure. Maybe उसमें से बहुत से लोग हमारे होंगे जो हमारा probation period के बाद maybe they are going to leave. Maybe some of them we don't like because of their work, that how they are producing or how they are working. So again, we need to keep this thing as mind. So this is like the recruiting yield pyramid. It's a historical arithmetic relationship that's being used widely by the HR as well. That अगर हम लोग किसी भी पोजीशन के लिए अगर हम कैंडिडेट्स को करते हैं, अगर मेरे पास एक अच्छा खासा बड़ा पूल होता है, फिर मैं उसको स्क्रूटाइज करते हुए, टेस्ट लेते हुए, इंटरव्यू लेते हुए, देन मैं कुछ ऑफर करती हूँ, तो जरूरी नहीं खाली ऑब्वियसली हर बंदा या हर every individual is going to accept my offer. I need to see that how many of the people are going to accept, and then how many people are actually going to join your particular organization. Because when you have made the offer, now it's up to them that either they are going to join you or not. Okay, now there are some advantages and disadvantages of internally hiring within the organization. अगर क्या इसके, first we are going to discuss about the disadvantages. Number one, failed applicants become discontented. आपने जो लोग आपने अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से नहीं लिए, definitely they are going to be discouraged, they are going to be demotivated. Maybe they would be thinking क्या यार इतना लंबा time procedure हुआ, but there was nothing. Maybe they could be having this कि अब उनकी उसमें कहते हैं ना, हमारे यहाँ पे एक चीज हो जाती है कि अना का मसला बन जाता है. They could read in that status को क्या नहीं हुआ. maybe we are not good enough, maybe organization don't want to give us that chance, something like वो अपने दिमाग में चीज अपने status को बना लेते हैं, they inbreed in themselves. So these are some of the disadvantages. If we talk about advantages, definitely we can see our own candidate strengths and weaknesses. We can have more accurate view of our candidate skill set. Maybe we can have a more detailed, because now we are scrutinized through different things. Also, अगर जो लोग obviously the people who get hired or the people who are like gone through this process, they also become committed here. At least organization is giving us value, they are giving us chance to prove ourselves. This is again another commitment. आपका morale भी high हो जाएगा, you will be feeling motivated, you will be feeling accomplished, you will be feeling a part of that organization because organization आपको एक chance दे रही है. Last but not the least, definitely when you are going for the inside organization, when you are going for the inside hiring, there will be less training and no orientation required, because people are already familiar with the environment, the surroundings. Maybe if there is a little bit change, you can explain, but still overall they know what is happening. So these are some of the advantages of internal hiring. Now, these are different methods and sources of different internal hiring. One is job posting. We have job postings like bulletin boards होते हैं organizations में, shop boards होते हैं. Maybe internally they are going to spread this information through the email. अगर इनका कोई अपना एक portal बना हुआ है intranet का, they can float on that information that they do have an opening in the particular organization. If somebody wants to apply, they can apply. After applying, का पूरा procedure होगा. Another source is your rehiring your former employees. अपने पुराने लोगों को अगर आप employ करना चाहो, उनको रखना चाहो. Again, उस चीज के भी कुछ advantages and disadvantages हैं. Number one, we talk about disadvantage. अगर जो आपको छोड़ के गया जा चुका है या whatever good reasons, if you're going to again rehire that person, maybe he would be having a less positive attitude towards the organization. Maybe this could be one of the disadvantages. Also, जो आपके नए लोग हैं, it may send a wrong message कि यार अपने कि पुराने लोगों को दोबारा लेके आ रहे हैं, but they are not giving us chance to prove ourselves जो currently उस position पे काम कर रहे हैं. So this can be again a disadvantage. But if we talk about advantages, they are also again, they are known, they know from culture, they do know what is how this organization, maybe they are aware about the history, the past, so they are having a lot of information and knowledge. So that could be one of the advantages. Okay, now other sources of internal candidates can be succession planning. As already we have discussed in our previous, like previous slides we discussed किया था. The succession plan is basically when we done internally and this position को fill करते हैं. कोई हमारे junior position, senior position की तरफ जब जाता है, maybe assistant manager, manager बन जाता है, manager maybe senior manager बन जाता है. So all these positions are being filled internally. So we need to see that, we need to evaluate कि हमें किस तरह करना है, क्या चीज factors हैं position को fill करने के लिए, what type of person we are looking for. Either it's like it can be done internally, so that would be a great because it will be saving our cost as well. And then now there are different steps for doing it. Identify, analyze key jobs, access karo or assess karo candidate ko, and last but not the least, you to fill any of the position. Again, I don't want you to just restrict on this thinking yehi wajuhat ho sakti. There could be plenty of other reasons of doing succession planning. Jis tarah maine kहा position create hui, we think internally hamari cost bachegi, but we don't have much money, or we have a person who is really qualified enough, who is good enough to fill that position, then why to go outside? Why go for any external source? So there could be plenty of reasons for succession planning. Now, what are reasons or what are the sources of hiring from outside of recruitment? Advertising, number one, employment agencies, college recruiters, executive recruiters, referrals, and walk-ins. So now these are all sources we talk one by one. Advertising, we all have seen different advertisements आपने देखी होगी, बिलबोर्ड्स पे लगी होती है, न्यूज़पेपर्स में होती हैं आजकल, डिफरेंट वी हैव प्लेटफॉर्म्स, ये जॉब बिल्डर्स के बने हुए हैं, जॉब बिल्डिंग वेबसाइट बनी हुई है, लिंक्डइन. So these all advertisements are coming there, and you can easily see what type of candidate they are seeking or looking for. Also, we have different agencies, they are particularly working for this domain, they are particularly asking organizations मे बी कि हम आपको ये करके देते हैं, देयर एम्प्लॉयमेंट एजेंसी वो आपको हेल्प आउट करती है, जिस तरह एचआर कंसल्टेंसी है, different और organizations भी इस domain में, they provide you the database, they provide you the organizations with the list of candidates, with their CVs, whatever criteria they are having. For example, मुझे MBA चाहिए सिर्फ supply chain में, तो they have MBA with supply chain, they will be offering us all the CVs and their valid CVs with valid phone numbers and everything. Data is very current data, it's not an obsolete data. So this is basically employment agency. Even individuals go over there as individual, कि मुझे अगर कोई चाहिए, kindly help me out to finding a job. So they help you in finding a job. Also, there are executive recruiters. Now, what is executive recruiters? Before talking about executive recruiters, I would like to touch college recruitment. College recruitment is basically through recruitment drive organizations, जिसमें आती है different colleges, schools में, universities में, they go over there, they try to maybe have a branding session, awareness session करवाती हैं, बताती हैं अपने बारे में, and then they ask individuals to drop their CVs, or they conduct उसी टाइम mock interviews करवा लेती हैं, और we can say that अगर mock नहीं है तो वो एक one on one उसी टाइम इंटरव्यू जाते हैं कि walk in करके वो जिस तरह आपके इंटरव्यू हो जाते हैं. This could be one of the methods. Okay, last but not the least, referrals. Anybody referred you for that position, or you they could be like sales की position could be have walk in interviews होते हैं. So for example, we need sales executives or business development managers and business development officers हैं. So they are like walking अपने पास advertise के जो लोग आते रहते हैं इंटरव्यू करते रहते हैं. If you think they are good enough, you select. Otherwise, they are not being selected. Executive recruiters are basically आजकल इतने ही एक और चीज चल रही है मार्केट में, these are basically headhunters. They are special employment agencies जो headhunters होते हैं, जो हमारे डिफरेंट लोग उनको हायर करते हैं और बताते हैं कि हमें ये लोग चाहिए. बेसिकली ज़्यादातर हेडहंटर्स ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के जो टॉप पोजीशन के लिए यूज होते हैं कि अगर हमें ऑर्गेनाइजेशन CEO CFO, इट्स नॉट जस्ट बेसिकली फॉर टॉप, इट कुड बी फॉर अदर पोजीशंस एज वेल, बट जस्ट टू सेव द टाइम हम इनको हायर करते हैं, इनको बताते हैं कि हमें ये रिक्वायरमेंट, हमारा ये स्पेसिफिक हमारी requirements list and they provide us the candidate in terms of like, or they try to refer us to someone who is like suitable or good enough to meet our position and to fulfill our criteria. So this is one method of going from the outside recruitment. अभी जिस तरह हमने पहले बात की advertisement or advertising, it's the medium, it's a selection that how you're going to go with that, either newspaper, either trade, traditional trade, professional and trade journals or internet job sites and marketing programs. As organizations go with different mediums. अगर एक medium use करना है या maybe multiple mediums. Maybe you can have blend of one or two as well, depends on the job required. While constructing an effective job, again advertisement ऐसी होनी चाहिए जो attractive or appealing हो, लोग उसको देखने करना चाहें. तो usually we ask while HR managers या HR people advertisement ऐसे नहीं, लेकिन ज़्यादातर वैसे ही वो बहुत ज़्यादा wordy भी होती है. It is not having that IDA concept of attention, desire, attention, interest, desire, and action. But still, whatever we are going to go with that, it should be having a positive impression of the firm, because if that organization is a government firm, definitely हम इतना ज़्यादा pictorials नहीं दिखाएंगे. But if it's a primary school, or if it's a nursery, if it's like maybe a kindergarten, or maybe we are talking about any particular school with having like special needs like बच्चे हैं disabilities के, we are catering them. So we try to have that type of pictures ताकि हम इन लोगों को थोड़ा सा educate कर सके, बता सके. We can have awareness about that as well. So that's why we try to have an impressive image or ad in terms of advertisement for any position. This is just an example I have taken for there is vacancy requirement of assistant manager internal audit. What are the qualification experience they require, what is the job description. They have even mentioned the salary as per the company rules, what is the maximum age limit, and what is the application of their procedure. This is very old. They're also hiring through ruzi.pk. That's again, this is also a job building website जिसमें एक आपने हमने पहले बात की थी. एजेंसी है ये भी जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को हेल्प आउट करती है. So again, we have to go. I mean, this is for particularly for Ministry of IT, that's government of Pakistan. I'm talking about R&D funded hai ye. So again, for these advertisement, it's really a little bit like more than wordy hai, but it's well defined. They have even defined the salary slab. They have even defined everything, what about the perks and the benefits, what is the age limit. So this is how advertisements are supposed to be made. Okay, now we were talking about employment agencies, कुछ government owned होती हैं, कुछ non-profit होती है, कुछ privately owned होती है. So government owned, जिसमें मैंने कहा international testing services, the government owned. Those who help organizations, Rosie.peak is also one of that. There are also different agencies that are non-profit organizations हैं, जो organizations, for example, अगर कुछ ऐसे बने हुए जो help करते organizations को, there are also organizations which are doing that. Also, there are privately owned agencies who are working on this thing. We discussed this another. We talk about there is God.pk here. Then we have different this builder in job monster.com. So these are all agencies that are privately working for individuals as well as companies. Okay, now these are some of the reasons you should choose to private employment agency, because this is we are talking from organization perspective. अगर आपके पास अपना कोई HR department नहीं है जो इतना ये rigorous process of recruitment selection कर सके, screening कर सके, shortlisting कर सकते, this is a good idea to go with agency. और अगर आपको पहले last time आपने की थी कोई position को आपके पास इतना अच्छा CVs नहीं है, so this is another way of doing it. Secondly, or if you want to go quickly with the position, you want immediate person to join that organization, you have immediate hiring, you can go with that. Another perspective would be you have like अगर आप कहते हो कि equal employment opportunity है, you are having seats आपके पास, you want to fill the seats as per the criteria, you can also ask employment agencies. Sometimes it also happens कि आपको एक अच्छा individual आपके पास नहीं आ रहा, एजेंसीज के पास जो करंट या मे बी आपकी जो रीच है वो इतनी बड़ी नहीं है कि लोग आपके पास जो टैलेंटेड पूल ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स आपके पास आ सके, तो मे बी दैट्स व्हाई यू सीक हेल्प फ्रॉम द एम्प्लॉयमेंट एजेंसी. लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, समटाइम्स आपके पास जो रिग्रेस प्रोसेस होता है रिक्रूटमेंट एंड सिलेक्शन का, यू वांट टू कट इट डाउन द कॉस्ट. सो आप एक एचआर एजेंसी को, एम्प्लॉयमेंट एजेंसी को कहते हो कि यार डू इट फॉर अस, वी विल पे यू दिस अमाउंट, सो एंड दे पे यू देयर सर्विसेज. Okay. The third one was executive recruiter, that is headhunter. Now, what is the role of a headhunter in outside recruitment? Okay, so we were discussing about the executive recruiters. So these are basically the headhunters. Now, what are headhunters? They are basically you can say हम इनको तब hire करते हैं जब top position management चाहिए होती है. Definitely, whenever a person or an agency or any individual are giving or offering their services, they charge you for that. So when the candidate is being selected, to salary उसमें से भी वो लेते हैं, certain fee they collect for that. Also, rather if I say, even the person is hired or not, if a company or agency or individual is helping you out in the process, because they are also going to charge you for their services. So this is also like headhunters are doing this. And again, for the top positions, like because they do have the sources, they do have maybe the database, they do have the PR. So we take their help to help us out to fill our top management positions. Now these trends are also very much changing. It's not the internet, technology, specializations, and we have to talk about platforms for LinkedIn. These platforms are really much helpful for finding good candidates for any organization. But it matters that how you're using it. आप किस तरह उसको कैसे इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो. If you're particularly using for it for seeking a position, or just for networking, or just for chit chatting, so again you need to see that what platform is offering what help. Then we have college recruitment. So मैंने बात की recruitment drives होती हैं. They come to organizations, they give you maybe एक आपको अपना एक बताती हैं, briefing session देती हैं, and then followed by test हो सकते हैं, maybe walk-in interviews हो सकते हैं, maybe CV collection हो सकती है, depends. Last but not the least are different like internship offer करती हैं आपको वो walk-in interviews में, or maybe sometimes they also offer different things. Okay, now we do have other college recruitments में on-site visits हो सकती हैं, जिसमें आप उनको information दे सकते हो, plan interview कर सकते हो, उनको follow up लेना चाहो, उनसे कि अगर फॉर एग्जांपल हमने पहले दिया था तो क्या होगा, अगला प्रोसीजर क्या होगा, यू कैन आस्क देम। जिस तरह हम कहते हैं ना, हमने एक विजिट किया तो विजिट्स होते हैं, इंडस्ट्रियल विजिट्स होते हैं इंडस्ट्रियल रिलेशनशिप्स में, इट्स वन ऑफ दैट सोर्स। देन then we have employee referrals. Now, what is referral? Referral is basically any employee working in an organization, and he refers a person or she refers a person. Yeah, ये मेरा जानने वाला है, or I knew this person, or this person I we have worked previously in some other organization, or maybe relative or any other person, so they can refer. So this is referral based. This is again, this is one of cost-effective method. Again, it speed up the your process of hiring. It can also be used. Last but not the least, is the walk-in is like sales may sometimes or different positions may business development officer, business development manager. Then we have different positions about maybe talk about ad hoc or temporary positions. So we can have walk-in interviews for that. ओके, नाउ दीज आर आउटसाइड में हमने जैसे सोर्सेज में कहा, अगर हम इंटरनेट सोर्सेज करें, इंटरनेट की जॉब सर्च करें, तो वी हैव डिफरेंट इंटरनेट हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म हैं। वन ऑफ देम इज लिंक्डइन, देन वी हैव डिफरेंट वेबसाइट्स बनी हैं, rosie.pk, beresgod.pk, Indeed, different, I'll show you the picture. So these are very cost effective because हम यहाँ पे अपना एडवर्टाइजमेंट प्लेस करवा सकते हैं, हमारे पास पूल जगह आता है। अगर we talk about rosie.pk, they are having like maybe thousand and thousand millions and million people are having their access to that data, तो वो database उनके पास अच्छा खासा बड़ा बना है। Immediate response आ सकता है, online pre screening वो आपको करके देते हैं, so it saves your cost and effort as well, कि आपको प्री स्क्रीनिंग नहीं करनी। जो क्राइटेरिया, फॉर एग्जांपल आपने बीवी एमबी रखा था बट आपके पास सीरीज और एजुकेशन की भी आ रही है, तो दे कैन इजीली स्क्रूटनाइज फॉर दैट। They can also provide links and they can also evaluate and track what where we are standing. If you require 100 series, 50 series, 5 series, so they can easily give you that because they do have a lot of data. So these are a few of the recruitment websites. If we talk about careerbuilder.com, monster.pk, monster.com. If we particularly talk about Pakistan, we have this Rosie, we have Indeed, Berozgar, Paper, Mustaqbil, Job Alerts. So all these are different websites that has been used for job research. Okay, last but not the least is the important aspect of creating your job application form, like we discussed in the I previously mentioned. Dashboard is an organization what they have in hand, they provide, you need to fill that all the details, what you're having in terms of education, prior work record, your skills, your knowledge, maybe growth, maybe languages, maybe in terms of your switching, maybe in terms of like your medical history, whatever it is, you need to fill that. Next of kin, your references, if we talk about maybe your trainings hourly, workshops आपने attend की, कोई आपने कंडक्ट कराएंगे, any other special like और आपने कुछ कोर्स किया हुआ, तो you can mention in that application form. So this was all about from planning and recruitment, personal planning and recruitment. Thank you for watching and thank you for having this session. We'll get back to you with some new information, new session next week. Till the time, stay safe, stay secure, and stay blessed. Take care.